Topic of the presentation is ways to reduce the operational cost of a distributor. We are all associated somehow, in one way or the other with National Stock Exchange, and I think it's a very nice topic, nicely chosen topic, ways to reduce the operational cost of a distributor. So let's have a big round of applause for Mr. Chetan Doshi. I will invite him to the stage and take over the presentation.
Hello, good afternoon. Before we start the presentation, let me once again welcome all of you on behalf of National Stock Exchange. National Stock Exchange this year as well has been the derivative exchange of the world for the third time consecutively. Thank you very much. So one more thanks to AAFM for organizing such a beautiful event where like-minded people have got together and we're discussing ideas. The format which I really liked, within their side was also there's a question answer session after every presentation, which is quite an interactive way and a very methodical way to select a distributor who can come, and it's random. So everybody is paying attention to the topics which have been discussed here. Heads off to you all. Thank you. So coming back to the topic, let's look at the mutual fund presentation. Excuse me. Can someone project the present? Yeah. Yeah. So if you look at, make it full screen, please. Thank you. So if you look at, in the last 10 years, the mutual fund industry has grown by 5 times. So this is a phenomenal growth of the asset management business. And at the same time, if you see, in the next 10 years, as per AMFI BCG vision, the industry is going to be 100 trillion. So this is the kind of growth that we are seeing from the mutual fund side, and everybody out here should really focus on how do we get more and more AUM under our under our ARNs. So if you look at coming to the ARN holders, have they grown 10 times the way the industry has grown 5 times, 10 times in the last 10, 15 years? The answer is no. So the same set of distributors are able to handle a larger set of assets under their management because of the fact that there is a lot of digitalization which has taken place, and those distributors are today catering to many more clients, multifold clients from the time they were engaging in the previous non-digital era. So again, there is one more opportunity. If the industry is growing and it is going to grow to 10 trillion, there is a huge amount of distributors also which would be required, which is not today grown in the pace in the same way like the mutual fund assets under management. So how do distributors basically place their transactions? So today distributors have 3 ways in which they can place their transaction. One is, of course, the traditional way where they go to an asset management company, they take a physical form, submit it to an asset management company. So say for example, if there's one investor who has invested into 3 different mutual fund houses and between 2 different RTAs. Now you have to go to 3 different or 4 different fund houses, take that application form, submit it to that respective asset management company. Again, the KYC documents also has to be submitted to different asset management companies, and this is how your time, effort is invested in the physical form. When you go and submit a physical form, this is how you have to submit your applications. The second is channel partners. Channel partners is nothing but you directly integrate your website being a channel partner with 40 different asset management companies, signing 40 different agreements, and you then enter a channel partner route where you submit your transaction digitally, but after going through after signing up with 40 different fund houses, you can only enable your channel partners. And the third form is you enter through an exchange, and exchange will do everything. That means when you say everything is right from your client onboarding to your KYC to submitting forms to different RTAs to ensuring that the reconciliation is done and your reverse feed, that is your allotment of the units as per the investor investment is also done. So the everything, and for you, the touch point remains only one, that is an exchange. So these are the three ways in which you basically submit the applications. So the role of the distributor is very, very huge. I mean, there is a pre-sales journey, there's a post-sales journey, and of course, there's a transaction journey. So if you look at, he has to analyze various investment options. There are diversification of the portfolio they have to do, maintain financial records of the investors, understanding the financial needs of the investor, educating the investor, and evaluating the risk appetite of an investor. So there is enough on the right-hand side of yours is something that you have to do post. After that, it is the post and pre things that you have to do for your investors. Now, there are operational costs associated with everything that we spoke till now. So the first is the client onboarding. In a client onboarding, the first thing is you have to register and give an application to an asset management company. The asset management company basically identifies that the distributor and the investor are related, and that's how you submit an application form. There's a similar way on an exchange also, where you identify and set a relation between an exchange and the investor and the distributor, and you register them digitally. Now, let's look at what is a digital registration here. Now, when you go and ask an investor, in the pandemic times, you couldn't move out of your house. But NSE, when they started this digital onboarding, there was a link which goes to an investor. The investor clicks on the link. And the moment they click on the link, your client is active. So basically, what were we doing? We were capturing the IP log of the investor, Internet Protocol log of an investor, and we were asking them to immediately onboard. So when you go so these are the costs, basically, where immediately, the moment you want to onboard a client, there is a client acquisition cost which the investor has to bear. And we have tried to ensure that this cost is bare minimum for the investors. Second is transaction processing cost. If you have an application which is between 4 different asset management companies, and this asset management companies are at 4 different locations in Bangalore or in any other city, you have to basically physically go there and submit your applications, or you have to go to camps and KIF in and submit your applications. In this process, there's a huge time, effort, cost which a distributor has to incur to onboard a client. The client could be a 500 rupee SIP client or a 5 crore client, but the service levels that they expect out of the investor is exactly what is very, very similar. So the expectation is very high, and the cost also to the distributor for every client is also high. So this is the second way in which you all have a lot of transaction processing cost. Third is there's a KRA cost. So every time you onboard a client, you have to do a KYC. So currently, distributors cannot do KYC, but yes, they can fill up the application form and submit it along with the application to an asset management company. So that is of course possible. Here, the KYC, so I'll come back to the exchange side later. And fourth is the infrastructure cost. You have to ensure that your office is in place, your data there's a backup of your data, there is enough records that you have kept in the infrastructure available with you. So these are predominantly the cost which is associated with a distributor when they have to onboard a client. So NSE is proud to ensure that all this cost, what we have spoken, is we are able to reduce it, or maybe we are completely able to eliminate this cost when you all use the NSE mutual fund platform. This time, we are proud to share with you that in the FFF, that is Financial Freedom Fraternity Awards, along with Economic Times, and there was a jury of around 6,000 IFAs across the country, and the ET panel and the jury members have selected NSE as the best mutual fund platform of the year. Thank you so much. So I would just like to give you a small glimpse. There are 18,000 distributors today who are using NSE, who are registered with NSE. And the most important data on this slide is you are in Bangalore, but you can have a investor across the globe. So, you know, the most important is investors are spread across 5,500 towns and cities. So, you know, there's one very large distributor based out of Dubai. They do all the transactions on NSE sitting out in Dubai with sending no papers at all to Mumbai. So this is how, and all your schemes, which are AMC you want to basically put your investors' money, all the schemes are available on the platform. So this has been the growth. Last 3 years, we have grown by around 60% in number of transactions. We have grown by 46% in terms of the transaction volumes, and the registration of the distributor has been 55% year over year for the last 3 years. So most of the IFAs, a lot of IFAs across the country have now started using NSE platform, both via API. That is, I'll also touch base a bit on APIs. It is very important for everyone to understand that there can be a complete white labeling that we can use for our business, so that investor gets a complete 360-degree view of your website and your investment pattern. So today, if you look at KYC registration, we allow KYC to be KYC registration on the platform, and we are one of the platform where you can register a KYC. Now that service is stopped, where you cannot invest till you are KYC compliant, but we still don't stop you to execute a transaction after you have done your KYC. So both new to mutual fund investors and existing investors, KYC can be checked and done on our platform, and you can immediately start doing transaction thereafter. There's a unique validation process. So today, there are different platforms in the country. So you have exchange platforms, you have MFU, you have channel partners. What is so different about NSE? I believe platforms have now become commodities. It is a Me Too product, but how do you stand? How does NSE stand differently? And this is very important, that the onboarding process that we have is a completely thorough process, because today the client has become very important. The moment you have your client and you make their investment and the RTA rejects that application, you have a lot to answer to the investor. So what does NSE do? NSE ensures that we have a complete onboarding process which is thoroughly compliant. So now what do? We ensure that the KYC is checked. We ensure the FATCA is digitally done. The onboarding of an investor is digitally done. There is no need of any signature. There's no need to scan any check, leaflet when you're onboarding onto NSE platform. We do a penny drop into the client's bank account, and we check the name and verify the investor's bank account. So all this is done completely digitally, and there is nothing that goes physical when you onboard a client. Now, this is an onboarding process, but what does it ensure? It ensures that your transaction, once the onboarding is thoroughly checked, will never get rejected at the end of RTA. So ultimately, we are posting the transactions to the RTA, and in turn, RTA is collecting on behalf of asset management companies. So we will ensure that when you onboard on NSE platform, your client transaction will never get rejected. And in the last 8 years that I have been with NSE, I have not seen any transaction getting rejected at the end of exchange, once the client onboarding is thoroughly done. So recently we had so many regulatory changes coming up in the industry, right from 2FA, then we had nomination, then we had mobile number, we had email address. So so many changes we had in the industry. Our onboarding process was so thorough that we were taking, at that point of time when we started the platform, we were taking a wet signature. Now we have converted that process to digital onboarding. From that day, we were passing all the details to the RTAs, and none of our investors got affected when these changes took place because their mobile number was updated, their email address was updated. So when you have very similar platforms, the service, the compliance really matters a lot, and that's where we stand out. So FATCA and UBO, similar way. UBO, of course, is not digital as of now, so you can scan and upload for non-individuals, but for individuals, we have a FATCA, which is also digital in nature. Bank mandate, e-mandates are already available. So this is a slide bit. We have digital client onboarding, which I've covered with you. Secondly, if upfronts have completely gone off, we offer you one product, which is an RBI product called Sovereign Gold Bonds on the same NSE mutual fund platform, where there's a 1% upfront. You all can please, for the diversification into gold, into DMAT as well as non-DMAT form, you all can use this product and for your clients' investments. There are comprehensive reports also available on the platform. The reports basically will give you, I'll give you one kind of, one example of a report. Say for example, you're doing SIP and the client's SIP is getting matured in May. You'll get a report saying that this client's SIP is getting matured. Why don't you go and approach that client again, reinitiate an SIP. So such kind of business-friendly reports are also available through the NSE platform. Our focus while doing business, our focus is never turned off on the compliance. We ensure that all the processes that we have are thoroughly compliant, and in that fashion only we move forward. There's a family wrap where in case if there are 5 family members and one is a karta or one is the primary holder of the family, you can club all of their investments together and have a consolidated view through our platform. And there's a help desk at Chennai. So whatever I've spoken today, we have everything on a mobile app also. So in rural India, when you go in smaller towns, smaller cities, a mobile handset is available with everyone. But if you look at the laptop or the desktops, is not really available with everyone. So what we have done is we have ensured that everything what we spoke is available through a smartphone, and everyone can do transactions transactions as well as onboarding of investors, both through the mobile phones also. Now, say for example, you have 10 people in your office or 5 people in your office, and there is some kind of, and you had a pandemic. I'm just taking a related example, and people cannot come to office, or there is a heat wave going on, people cannot come to office. You can give the mobile application, you can download as many applications as you want. You being a primary ARN holder can register through your ARN, and all your investors, all your staff can do transactions sitting from their home. So this is how your infrastructure cost is saved. This is how your traveling infrastructure cost is completely saved, and your record keeping, without having a BCP, that is a business continuity plan, your entire data is also saved at the exchange level, though it is saved at an RTL level. So you have a complete backup of your data from the NSE mutual fund platform. This is a slide which I would want to spend a couple of minutes. So today what happens is, the moment we start using an application, we get hooked onto that application. So for example, if I start using Uber, till I am comfortable with Uber, I will not go to an Ola. And similar way, if I get comfortable using Amazon, I'll not go to the other website till I know that the prices are competitive and I've checked most of the things. So you get hooked onto something. So today, IFAs are competing with national distributors. IFAs are competing with banks. So what happens is, how do you show that you have enough on your website? You are also selling insurance, you are selling sovereign gold bonds, you are selling mutual funds, you are selling corporate fixed deposits. So when you make your own website, today with the help of APIs, API is nothing but, in a simple language if I have to explain, it's a computer speaking to a computer. So in such a simple language if I have to explain you have everything on your website. You can yourself become a national distributor, clients can come to your website, they will see your, say for example, if I'm Chetan Doshi and company, they'll see Chetan Doshi and company, the backend will be attached to NSE mutual fund platform, and you can route your transactions, and the client will feel that they're coming to your own website and doing transactions on your website. So this is a personalized experience that you will get. Again, the cost related to how APIs are used, how APIs are developed, all that cost comes to us. We don't charge anything for sharing our APIs. You can, from 18,000 guys, where we have 7,000 very active distributors, 4,000 plus distributors use API route. That means they have white labeled their entire website with the help of exchange APIs, and their investors come to their own website, they do transactions, and then they pass on basically ultimately at the back end, NSE processes the transaction. So please make use of such applications which today are completely available, free of cost to everyone, and ensure that your branding, your own website comes up and people start using them. There are regulatory changes. I think we've covered this. There's a source bank account. We have a virtual account for it. I'm not going too much in detail. So in case if we can keep some time in case if people have some questions. So relationship details, the email ID and the mobile number has been updated. And we have given a digital way in which you can update those things at the end of the exchange. We also give you a way in which you can check what is the relationship, what is the mobile number and email address at the RTL level. You can call for that data and you can relate it to your transactions. You can change it at NSE side, you can change it as per the RTA records easily. Because we cannot do the changes, we cannot send our changes to the RTS because of the fact that the source of truth defined is the RTA data. Two-factor authentication for redemption and switches are already done, and we have done a digital way in which you can opt in and opt out as per the SEBI circular. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sure. So, any special products which are coming from the asset management side, we develop them at the end of the exchange, and you get it again at the end via the APIs or via the platform. So a smart switch facility, a Dream SIP, a Freedom SIP, a Mitra SIP, smart switch facility, Goal SIP, every different product. There's a huge development cost which an exchange bears today, but you get everything at the platform end. So we have also launched a new feature where you can step up, and the step up SIP, that also we have launched. So, this is a contact list of our RMs across the country. You can get in touch with them. So my colleague Prerna is based out of Bangalore, and she would be in touch with all of you. So if there's any questions, maybe we can take that. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chetan sir.